Good morning, everyone. I'm laughing already. I haven't even started. If you'd share with me, please, your requests for topics today.
Discipline. Union with that.
Hold on one sec. Hold on. What was the one over there? Anybody else? Family trauma? Always look on the bright side of life. Yeah, some of you remember that. It's a Monty Python thing, sorry. No irreverence meant, but that's probably one of the best crucifixion scenes ever. But that sounds irreverent if you haven't seen the movie. All seriousness aside, we're in this remarkable time. I mean, some people on this planet, they think it's just the same old, you know, they really do. It's amazing. They think that there's another election. They think there's another up or down in the economy and so on. I mean, we're on the edge of catastrophe. Great way to start the talk today, huh? I mean, the world is changing rapidly. Nothing will ever be the same. We'll never see what we used to think was normal. And it's an amazing thing, the number of things that are no longer normal. It's not one thing. It's not only a new type of car comes out, you know, and it's not just a change in wardrobe styles and so on. We're dealing with things that are so multiple that can't comprehend it. Economy and God, everything, the ecology and so much. We haven't seen what's coming to this world. We haven't seen anything close to it. The second closest thing would be the flood and the destruction of Atlantis. If you don't believe in Atlantis, just space out for 10 seconds while I talk about it. We haven't seen anything like it, and that sounds horrible. The difference is there won't be a destruction and then just picking up the pieces and trying to get our lives back together and pull that off, struggling the whole time, pull it off for a few thousand years and have to do another terrible experience. We're going into an ascension. We're going into higher levels of consciousness, higher vibration. Your dense body will not be the same in just a short time from now. Just a short time from now. It won't be the same. We won't see it the same, feel it the same, experience it the same. So this is actually good news. A good metaphor, you know, is, of course, the birth pains. It's uncomfortable at the time, but then there's this beautiful birth. But nothing, even the most beautiful birthing of a child, can't compare to the birthing of our Christ self. But that doesn't happen just because we say so. It's not going to be like, gee, there's a new world coming. Can't wait. We won't have energy bills. Everybody will have a crystal in their house that'll run on the crystal grid. You know, and you won't have to deal with cars and car insurance. Everybody will just have a UFO in the garage. Some people actually think that's cool. We'll have, when your person is in office in the White House or whatever, a lot of things are going to pass away. If I were to describe the new world, it would be overwhelming to the brain, because the brain and mind, those are two separate things. The brain, the actual brain, and the mind would become overwhelmed because of the number of things that won't be there anymore. And the ones that'll trigger you most are the ones you're most attached to. So when you bring up things like healing and third eye, and connection, another one of the words you brought up, All these things are going to happen, but it's not going to be done the way each religion thinks it's going to be done. Science thinks it's going to be a new science. AI technology. It's this ultimate intellectualism. No. The intellectual self and intellectual world will die. People will lose their dependence on technology in the sense that we're the dreamers of the dream. You won't be subject to technology running your life. And when they call it artificial intelligence, that's a good name, very artificial. And things that are artificial aren't real. They are not long lasting. So that world has to die. And then there's religions, each having their, and all of that's going to die. What's going to be left? Oh, just bliss. Sorry about that. But no, we will move into what seems like a higher technology, but it's not the kind we think of today. Gadgets. It's consciousness. We will get to a day where buildings will be poured into place like crystal. Windows will be made of a, I guess the closest thing I could describe like a Pyrex that's poured into place. Things are not going to be linear. We will not be using steel to make buildings. You won't be making things out of things that can rust or rot. Everything's going to be different. Love will prevail. Love will become the theme. And when we have love as the law in our hearts, there won't need to be laws. Now, of course, there's lawless people going, yes, but no, because you and your lawlessness also will be gone. Where? I don't know, because it's very subjective and subject to how you behave. People aren't going to care who you love. No, it's like you're guided by God. And all of a sudden, love is just free. You don't have to declare it. You don't have to ask for it. You don't need your parents' approval. None of that matters anymore. I am that I am becomes the law. You see? It's not, you have to marry somebody of our race or our culture, or we won't accept them. Those that don't accept you will be gone. Not because they're in hell like some people say they're going to be. I'm saying that consciousness won't be there. People won't even think of it. It's not because somebody doesn't allow them to. It doesn't make sense to think like that, to judge people for their preferences, their beliefs. And all the varying beliefs will start going like this and coming together. Now, some people go, no, but I want to have mine different than everybody else's. That part of you will be gone. We won't force it upon you. It'll be gone. And if you still want to be like, I just resist, I resist to the end, I'm going to fight it, I refuse to think as one and loving, a planet will be provided for you to incarnate as a cockroach, and you can sit there just, walking around, living out your life until you're like, I should have rethought this. Love's not looking so bad anymore. But we can't do spiritual bypassing to get to higher dimensionality. It's not going to look the way you, who think you're separate from everybody else, thinks it'll look. It's going to be, I surrender to that new look. I don't know, but God does. I allow the Holy Spirit to co-create that new world through me, rather than I've got it covered. I know exactly what I want this to look like. And for a while, we will have a higher dimensional lifestyle. For a while, that's going to happen, where we're interacting. There's no doubt about it at all in my mind. No doubt about it. I see it, and I've known this for decades. It's going to happen where beings of higher dimension, called light beings, they're going to interact with humanity and help them rebuild the world that was destroyed. And so getting to that new world, mankind isn't the type to go, let's just do that. Let's just go to the higher dimensionality. The fighting, the resisting, well, we'll do that as long as our guy's in office and not your guy. As long as this and not that. As long as all these rules and conditions. And that's so typical of mankind. One of you brought up the word healing. And healing has to be understood at a whole new level. Counseling will not be somebody sitting with a notepad putting you in boxes based on their textbooks. Healing will also not be, it sounds to me like you have a symptom that we can't figure out, so we're just going to cut something out of your body. Just so we have something to do and something to charge you for. Everything is going to move into a higher vibration, including medicine. I've said this before, but the word, the concept of medicine is going to become vibrational. And there'll be a day when you can't even be sick anymore. Healing is moving already matrix-wise in that direction. We just don't see it yet. But remember, the way evil is, the way ego, self is it fights tooth and nail to the end. So the more things start to shift towards a positive, the more the ego fights to keep it from happening. So medicine is already showing its true colors. I'm not saying there's no place for any medicine. If you have a headache, God bless you for taking an aspirin and being out of pain. I'm glad you're out of pain. I'm glad somebody can put a cast on to fix a bone. I'm glad for anything that relieves pain of human beings. God's happy that you use those things. But mankind's going to come to a place where things are not linear anymore. You don't just happen to have a broken bone. You don't just happen to have an ended relationship. Those linear topics, descriptions, definitions. People will come to a place of understanding nothing I see happens by chance. Everything is a vibrational manifestation of my consciousness. And I'm not just giving you the power of attraction kind of speech, because that's all. Anyway, the concept of power of attraction, it's fine that some people are into that, because at least they're into something of power. But you're already subject to the power of attraction, meaning any thoughts you have already bring things in your direction. But that doesn't mean that you should stay with that. There's another power with a capital P, which is co-creation, not attraction. The power of attraction is like saying I'm a magnet and boom, boom, all these nuts and bolts keep coming my way. Just too many nuts, And they just seem to be attracted to me. Well, stop being a magnet for nuts. I had a surgeon that botched my surgery. And I understand. As human beings, we think that we can rest easier if we have someone else to blame. It's that politician. It's that surgeon. I get that. I totally get that. It's so much easier. I've done that exercise with people and demonstrated that. You have person A, person B. Person A is going to be the standard human being who immediately thinks of who's responsible for their botched surgery or their car wreck or whatever it is. Person B is going to do inner tracking, looking at the deeper roots to this, whether it's past life or childhood or whatever, the deeper roots, and then they're going to track that down, see the connections to the rest of their life, surrender it to God, breathe God in and refill with God's presence, and now they've changed trauma to bliss. Okay? Person A, person B. Ready? Both of you do your work. Ready? Go. Done. What are you doing? Oh, I'm still tracking. This, all you have to do is go. I think it was them. It's easy. It's quick. But so is food that's quick food that has no nourishment. So it is not nourishing to live on blame or what we think even the law of attraction, which is I'm going to shift things from blaming someone for things going wrong to attracting exactly what mind you, that's the inner tyrannical ego, what I want in my life, because then now my life's going the way I want it. God, I'm such a powerful being. No, you're just a Nimrod who's shifting your manifestations from things you don't like to things you like, but it's still you. You have to die of the old self. Just because you're manifesting better, seemingly, better things in your life, doesn't mean things have come together. What about co-creating with God? But I am God. No. The one that thinks it's talking to me right now is not God. The Buddhist technique of who's talking right now? Well, it's me. That's wrong. Go to the next level. Well, now there's me that's aware that I was talking. That one's wrong. Next. And they just keep peeling layer upon layer upon layer of the self because you're still thinking that you're there. I got it now. Now I'm in the non-self. Wrong. There's another layer. And they'll keep you in this meditation deeper and deeper and deeper. And then you're in the emptiness. Wrong. After all these layers, and of course it's depressing because you thought you knew who you are and you're in charge of your life. I thought that if I go to the store and I use my brilliance to read the labels, I'll know exactly what I'm putting in my body, what's going to make me healthy. There's still a you having a conversation. That never ends. My God, man. People that go to the store and they remember the fad of superfoods. You know, I'm into superfoods. You know, like your Popeye with spinach. I'm into superfoods. Really? Name one. Kale. Well, now kale is like dangerous. There's this new thing out. Kale is, how did you go from superfoods to super bad? The kale's just sitting there. Kale didn't do anything different. Kale didn't start downing toxic fluids and become toxic kale. It's just sitting there. Who made up that it's a superfood? We did. And you can prove it under a microscope that it's superfood, and now you can prove it under a microscope that it's horrible for you? Wait, but who decides these things? I have no interest in anyone or anything telling me what is right for me. I'll co-create this with God. And you can take, I don't care what it is, you can take the most toxic thing on the planet, nuclear waste, a bowl of nuclear waste, ingest it and turn it to light if you are in tune with who you are. It can't not turn to light because you're immune to anything but light. You know, you're just immune to it all. Nothing phases you. You just light and light. So you ingest something and it just starts, you know, from sludge, nuclear waste to like light. If Jesus could make his body turn to light, you don't think Christ can turn a bowl of nuclear waste into light? Liquid light, solid light, whatever form of light, and ingest it? This can happen, and it has happened. The real you has kept you from some accidents. The real you has kept you from some people you otherwise would have dated. It's like, no. But my pelvis says yes. No. No. It has saved you. There are foods you've ingested that might have been poisonous and you don't know when your light has saved you. And therefore, you have no tally of that. No evidence. How do you know that there's a part of you that has saved your life many times? No evidence, so you take it for granted, and it's very sad. But when we get to the other side, we're like, oh my God, I can't believe I missed that. It's amazing. There are all these amazing insights. You talk about hindsight being 2020, you get to the other side and everything becomes evident. How did I not know that? That was so evident. That was so clear, right? All the people you thought was the meant to be's were like not to be's, not, like stop. But you forced it because you practiced the power of attraction. So you drew another nut to yourself, but I did it through attraction. So there's still an I, a me, that's dangerous. I need to have that part of me that's still even remotely interested in attracting what I think I need. I being the deciding person here. Well, isn't that the way it's supposed to be? Aren't we supposed to empower ourselves? No, listen. Surrender to the power of God is the course of action. It has nothing to do with you becoming brighter and more brilliant or more intelligent. We've been doing that forever and it doesn't work. We reached the absolute pinnacle, the absolute highest high in our history so far in Atlantis. And look what we did to ourselves. We destroyed other continents. We allowed technology and alien intervention to interest us, to turn us on, to make us think that's how you create the best life. Technology. And they had technology that's beyond even what we have today. And they destroyed themselves with that same technology. That technology and intellect without love doesn't work. It can't work. Because love is the metaphor of God. How do you accomplish without God? Well, we've proven, science proves. I mean, it's a scientist that sat in a lab and came up with a medicine that seems to kill the symptoms of a disease. It wasn't God. It was me. I came up with this, whatever it happens to be. Or somebody that came up with an investment program that makes you more money. All these ingenuities of mankind, all they do is pull something off either temporarily looking good or not at all. And they all have side effects. Right? Even if I win the lottery today, you all put money into the lottery that I took. You guys lost. So it's hard for us to understand. Sounds like I'm running for office. My God. I just realized, I would vote for me. Just kidding. Anyway. Coming to this level of understanding, like this all with its side effects and its harmful effects, and I just don't have an interest in this anymore. And it's kind of vulnerable for us to own. This doesn't work. I thought that this new technology, I thought that winning the lottery obviously is a prosperous thing. Law of attraction, I won the lottery, wow, look at me. I think that's great, and yet there's a side effect. Someone else lost money, right? It's hard to believe the day will come when it's impossible for someone to win and someone to lose at the same time. See? Well, then I don't even want the lottery because now there's no gain. I was hoping to become billionaire. When your consciousness is rich in God, there's nothing you could need. Okay, well, if I'm one with God, I can manifest anything. I'm going to manifest $1 billion. Good job. Boom, and there's this pile that's $1 billion. And what are you going to do with it? Buy things. But when you're one with God, anything you want, it just comes, it manifests. You can materialize things. So what's the point now of $1 billion? Healing is going to go to a whole new level. There won't be people doing healing. There won't be a surgeon anymore. For a while, there'll be something like that, but there really won't be people doing healing anymore. And you won't be called this or that. You'll be called a healer. Because healers will broaden their mind and use all the tools on their tool belt, co-created by God, so that they can do whatever's needed in the moment. And it could be to touch, it could be to align the spine, but it's going to be consciousness working through this group of people called healers. It's not people fixing bodies. That's going to change. They can counsel. It's almost the closest thing we might have experienced, you could say, is almost like shamanic, but not to be confused with some of that's also been tainted by some people, okay? But just the change. You know what? Like, the law is written in our hearts. You don't need the world to tell you what to do and not do, because you can't imagine doing anything else. Well, would there be laws to keep people from harming other? The thought of harming another would make no sense. But there's a thing that has to happen for all this other stuff to come forward. And that is, we have to realize the truth of who we are. Maybe I'll talk more about that in another week coming up or so. But we have to recognize, see, if I think you're a separate person, I have to actually win the lottery only by you adding to the amount of the lottery. There's a you. You see? If I catch cold, who did I catch it from? There's a you. The bottom line is, it's all of the manifestations of being separate from each other. I will not deal with lawlessness when I realize we're one. How could I harm you if you're me? How dare you desert me and leave our marriage? What marriage? I'm already one with everyone. No, I still want to own somebody. It won't happen. It can't happen because you're me. I really want to marry you. I need you. Wait, you're me. Oh, I'm good. Shortest marriage in the history of the planet. I do. No, wait, I don't need. Okay, I'm good. Give him a hug. Thank you. Appreciate that. Sharing that process. You don't have to do it for lifetimes. No, I'm indebted to you because last time you did this and I did it. And we got to come back and do it again. What a weird contract. Contracts will be over. Soul contracts will be over. Karma washed away and washed away and washed away. Now, there are some people that go, no, I want my karma. I got to have some karma to feel alive. Again, there's planet Schizoid you can go live on. In the Daughters of Heaven conference that's coming up, I'm going to talk a lot more about the one question you asked about the third eye. But just for now, who are you here for? What are you here for? Who are you here to serve? We actually still think I'm trying to get to that point where I've sold $1 million in real estate, or $1 billion. You have goals. I want to have another child and a partnership, and I want to reach my 50th wedding anniversary. These are all goals. They've never existed. It's all a hologram. But if they did exist, they're going to cease existing. That's why events like COVID brought people, but I wanted to get married, and somebody decided you're not allowed. Isn't that weird? You sit and watch this, and some people just ignore that this has happened. You're not allowed to have high school graduations. I'm not saying that's the pivot or the pinnacle point of life on earth, but nothing normal. Your kids, some of us, your kids did not get to go and get graduation done, which is not the end of the world, but it's something that was normal and their minds expected it. They expected a marriage. They weren't allowed. Some people had to say goodbye to their grandparents through a window of a hospital or whatever, not able to say goodbye to them because somebody said it's against the rules. This weird coldness that we co-created. God didn't say, I think it's time for coldness on the planet. No, we did this to ourselves. Why did we allow the world to do that? Why did we create that? Because we didn't choose to step up and be who we really are. I love that there was some high school principal that said, you know what? To heck with this. We're not allowed to have a graduation. Kids can't walk up on the stage, be handed their certificate, and feel accomplished. Then why did they even go to school? Okay? So he drove around with a trailer, with a fake stage of a graduation. He drove around to each kid's house. Play the music, like Mr. Haney on Green Acres, He pulled this thing behind his truck, and then they go up, and the kid gets handed it. I think that's brilliant. But the most brilliant thing about it is that the guy had enough love to do that. I would just be grateful that you even thought of me, besides the stage and whatever else. That's very cool. We still had our services. It's not allowed. You're not allowed to have gatherings. We didn't. It's an illusion. I didn't ask for anybody to show up and sit in a gathering because that was illegal. I just said, I'm going to be standing here at the podium talking. Because we stream it around the world. So it's hi, and we're streaming. That's it. If you guys happen to show up, that's your business. And everybody kept showing up. That is inspiration. God will guide you into your own way of dealing with some of these things that people tell you can't do. It doesn't matter your sexual preference. It doesn't matter your religious preference. With everything on this planet, there's duality. There will be pros and cons of this or that. In God, the duality starts to go like this. It lessens. Now, how do you know you are getting closer to God? Good question. I would ask you, has duality started lessening in your life? Do you swing less from left to right? Less drama, of highs and lows. Less drama of, I chose this and horrible things happen. So I went and chose this instead and horrible things happen. This bipolar-ish world of duality. If the swing is lessening and you don't react to people and things as much, you don't have to tell people as much what you think. I need to speak my mind. See, that sounds like I used to be suppressed and oppressed and held back, which is not good. So now I need to speak my mind. Well, here's what happened. You used to feel hated and oppressed, and now you speak your mind, and now we still hate you. Because you won't stop talking and telling everybody what you think needs to be done to change the world. You just became more annoying. We were annoying you, now you're annoying us. It's duality. Where's the middle? Where's the middle where you who have to speak, and mind you, that's a natural stage. It's not bad. If you've experienced this, you need to experience this a little bit. But how much of that? 10 years later? If 50 years later, you have a partnership, let's say, 50 years later, you're still being blamed for everything these people did to them, something's not right. Honey, yes, we'll be partners, but we're going to look at some faster recovery on this thing. You know, I'm open to working with you on this, but no, this is going to be 50 years of this. The closer you get to God, time starts to disappear. Not just in the metaphysical sense. How long you take to heal something starts to come together. How long it takes you to overcome, one of you brought up family trauma. No, I am not saying shorten it like in a bypassing kind of way. I think it's harmful for you to rush your healing of family or any other kind of trauma. But something happens when you tether yourself to God, you'd start to develop this immunity. You don't catch colds and flus as much. But if you do, you're not like, oh my God, I failed. I thought I was one with God. Now I got the flu. No, easy. Now you have another opportunity to forgive something. And when you do, you're back tethered to God. Some things will still happen, but you bounce back quicker and quicker and quicker. You don't stray as often and you bounce back quicker. That's a good sign. Time starts to disappear. How long it takes you to get to know somebody, which is all about safety and, caution and taking your time, but that comes from fear. It's a good thing to do while you're living in a fearful world. But what if you start to change and you're not living subject to the world? What if you start to become closer to God and you're dealing or living from a higher vibration? You bounce back more quickly and you get to know people more quickly. Everything just happens more instantaneous. We just talked about this last week, the difference between long-term karma, short-term, like instant karma. Now, do you want to still do the long-term? Some people do. How do we know the planet isn't going to ascend right now? Because some people are still attached to long-term payments, which means you buffer the time of this planet waking up. No politician will be able to go on the news and say, one of my policies and my plans for the next 4 years is going to be time's going to disappear and everything's going to happen all at once and we'll all wake up. No, they're not going to vote for him. They're going to say, we think he's unstable, he or she. So that tells you something. That people would actually fight to keep trauma alive and karma alive. And you might say, well, nobody would. Everybody is, because it's still happening. The fact that we're still dragging this on. I want them to pay for that. You want to wish somebody having to pay or get caught or whatever and be in trouble. That means if you want them to experience presidential people you want to see go to jail, or family members you want to see go to jail, I understand the hurt that brought you there. I get that. But the more tenacious you are about people being punished, the more you're stuck in the karma too. You can't wish karma upon others without experiencing it in yourself. It doesn't work that way. Lord, I absolutely affirm the power and the need and necessity for karma in them. But we're one, so you get it too. And that's frustrating. Well, I wish it weren't that way. Thank you for sharing. It doesn't help. You're here, and what you wish upon others, as you judge, as you see others, you're seeing yourself. You just don't realize it. And it seems impossible because some people are horrible and you might be a pretty reasonable person. But their horribleness might be just a magnification of some old hurt of yours. It doesn't mean they're mirroring exactly how you are. Horrible people on the planet aren't mirroring that you're exactly as horrible. All other people are magnifications of even the slightest misthinking in us. When you know that, it helps you realize how horrible some people have been or can be. It helps you realize, okay, in this there's something I can learn, extract from it, and go on my way. The events themselves, bless you, I don't have to allow them to have power any longer, power over me. And that's not an easy way to think, an easy way to live. It isn't, because you're drawing the duality. You're living in a dual world, and yet you're not choosing duality anymore. You're going to start feeling disconnected from the world. And yes, there'll be planetary cycles that'll happen that'll exaggerate it. Full moons, blue moons, red moons, this moon, that moon, Keith moon, There'll be all kinds of the moons that, and lunar cycles and Mercuries and Plutos, and these things are not planets that are going, psst, hey, Pluto, yeah, let's get him. Okay, I'm Pluto, I'm going to go retrograde and just start bringing up all kinds of horrible things. That's not how this goes. The planets are saying only, and so it is, based on what we're asking for. Hey, listen, planets. Yes, children of God, because we're servants of you, not the other way around. Yes, servants of God. Well, we have an idea. Unconsciously, unknown to our conscious mind, we're agreeing it's time to wake up. So we're agreeing to kind of purge out some of our old ways. Hold on just a second. Pluto, Mercury, come here, quick. We need you both to go retrograde quickly. And do it during the most bizarre stellar alignments and solar flares. And let's fire up planet Earth and just get it. And so all these planets are like, getting all like, I can't wait, because they're going to help us wake up. And we're on Earth going, maybe this piece of paper will keep the asteroid from hitting me, because the world's out to get me, and it doesn't. And, and out there's these beings going, what's wrong with these people? They asked me to be Pluto retrograde. They asked me to be Mercury what's going on? And the moon's going, I go full every month, and they get ticked off. There's no telling, what the story is with these people. And then from the heavens, Jesus, forgive them. They know not what they do. We know. But every once in a while, they look like there's some hope. We bring them some hope, and they just spit upon it. And it's hard not to, because the ego will keep human beings in a state of being victims. One way it does that is makes you unconscious that you're choosing what's happening. Some of you and some of us have had horrible family trauma, family lives with our family, childhood, even current life, with family. Makes sense. It's completely immoral, illegal, and so on, what some families have done to you. I get it. Feel that, cry that, be held, talk about it, work it, process it, absolutely. The day, however, will come where you'll say, oh, that totally makes sense. Not justifying what they did, but why I was involved. Well, I had these past lives, little of this, little of that. And then they said to me, the gods, my angels, whatever, said, listen, we know you're going in Earth this, quickly here, soon here. We have two plans. One, you can go in and work on that one thing you did that was a little, and we'll take 2 lifetimes to work on that, and 3 lifetimes to work on infidelity. And then there's one other lifetime where you were a warrior and you killed a lot of good people and you liked it. Too much. So we've got but we can take each of these issues, make each of them manifest in one lifetime, pay it off, 2 or 3 lifetimes for that one, 2 or 3 lifetimes. Yeah, well, that sounds kind of harsh, but no, but we have another plan. You could pay it all off in one lifetime. We have just the family for you. We have just, and sometimes they give you options. The Addams family or the Munsters. You get 2 options. And it's like, well, the Munsters had a longer run, so I'll take that family and it lasts long. No, wait. Addams family, a shorter run, but I think they were hilarious at times. Ghoulish, but still. You'll pick something. It's not, how did I end up here? When I was a kid, I would ask that question and have that actual conversation with my father. But how? Well, you're the one, and I'm like, and I was struggling because I was just a kid trying to sort out. I know that somehow I got here and this is weird. I don't know you people. You don't feel familiar at all. And then they would say, it's time for dinner, let's sit at the table. I couldn't sit at the table with them. I did not feel like I was part of them. As a kid, that was painful at times. As an adult, oh my God, thank you, Lord, okay? But think about this. It's another way of maturing your ability to go, I get it. I shared this once before, but Edgar Cayce had a lifetime where he was a royal child, but a bastard child, and he was killed. He was kept in, like many movies show, he was kept in a convent to keep him safe because he was royal blood, but he was a bastard child, so they were hiding him. Well, the people that were against the king found out about it, and they wanted to, and they went and killed him when he was like 10. So they asked Cayce, well, what was happening there? Cayce in his readings said, well, in a previous lifetime during the Greek and Trojan Wars, this person, Cayce in this case, the readings are saying, Edgar was a certain character, historical character, who took pleasure out of taking some of the prisoners, dragging them by the feet until there was nothing left of their bodies. During the war, during victory, he would take them and do that. This was, Edgar, you're going in, you can pay this off and be done. They're going to take your life, but you're done. Now, do you want that in 5 lifetimes of payment? This is my additional part. Or go in that life. I think it's terrible that somebody did that to a child, killed a child. But when you go and step back and see that the child accepted, the soul accepted, being taken out at 10 to pay for that, it's kind of worth it. I've known people that had house payments and they always threw in a little extra with every house payment, and they were done making payments faster than the next person. Now, in hindsight, it's like, oh my God, I should have done that. But that person had the tenacity and the courage to make those extra payments and get themselves paid off and own their house, when someone else 20 years later is still making payments on interest rates. You see? Not everybody wants to be done with it now, but if time is going to disappear, everybody has agreed, I'm going to pay now. When the world goes through its cataclysms, that's everyone calling in the Cayce death of a child. That's us calling in the ending of our stuff. Now, it doesn't mean it has to end the hard way. It could end the easy way. But as Jesus says in A Course in Miracles, but human beings very rarely choose the easy way. If you would like to jump towards the easy way, next time you're watching political talks, imagine either of these politicians that are running for office and try to imagine that they are holy children of God. Doesn't matter whether they win or not, I love them, the Christ in them. Well, but there isn't any Christ in them, and so it is. For you too. Is that how you want to do this? Then we'll learn the hard way. All you have to do is watch the news, and in seconds, they can make you hate a whole country you've never been to. Oh, it's them again. You know how they are. There's like a they. We don't even know them. You can't even pronounce their name. And you got this now an opinion. Now you're at the water cooler the next day at work. You know, those people, that country, I've always had suspicions about them. All that tells us is you were messed up in another lifetime in that country, and now you're sitting there processing it at the water cooler. But when would you like to be done with that? I have no opinions. Try that. And you'll have people who hate you for that. I have no opinions. Who are you voting for? I don't know, because it's all crazy. It's an illusion. I know one thing, I will not vote for hate. So if I'm open to voting, you could say this to people in case they think you're being irresponsible. Just say, I'm open to voting. As soon as we find somebody who comes from a place of love. You see what you just did? You know, I can't support anyone that comes from hate. I can't. Not because I'm resisting it. It's not there. I'm saying for any of us, we could come to that place. It's just not there. One of you asked about discipline. This is one of the best disciplines. Refuse hateful thoughts. They're going to happen because you're on earth, but when they do, see them, spot them, and say, good one. Yep. Hateful thought. You're a holy child of God, and I'm determined to see your holiness. Move on. Don't sit there going, waiting for it to happen. Just affirm it and move on. Let the Holy Spirit take time to rewire your brain and your mind so that maybe 3 weeks later you think of that person and you don't feel as much like intensity towards them. You're incapable of that. You will, I'm going to start going to an end here, but you will come from the duality towards center. In the center, there's less people to hang out with. There are people that want you, need you to be a dualistic person. I want you to have highs and lows. And what's more, as one of the people in your life, I want you to go high and low when I want you to. I want you on a high when I want you on a high. And if you're low when I'm high, I'll divorce you. If you're high when I'm low and you're not going where I want you, or the other way around, I want you there when I want you there. I want you to be this. I want you to be in a manic mood when I'm in a manic mood. I want you to be down when I'm down, or the other way around. People have their projections. They need you to be something to either validate their angers and so forth, or buffer them, soothe them away so they don't feel them. Either way, you're being hired for something. But how can I be hired to do you, to be you? I'm me, and I can only be helpful from this place. No, did I ask for center? No, I asked for this or this. That doesn't work for me. I can't be that. And then now they're on the phone telling all your friends, they used to be nice to me, now they're doing this. And now you have people hating you. And you're going to be like, gosh, it's such a drag. I thought I was working on my spiritual self. And now people don't like me. Find God in those moments, not those people, not their validation. Find God. And say, look, I am willing to help you as a healer. I'm willing to be your parent. I'm willing to be your partner. I'm willing to be a friend. A stranger in a grocery store from this place only. Not because I don't love you. It's because I do love you. I can only ever be helpful when I'm tethered to God. That's a fact. If I'm not tethered, I'm already vulnerable to something else out here. Make sense? So that it's a concept of stay connected. One of you asked about connection. And that is your discipline, to stay tethered to God. It doesn't mean you're a monk. It doesn't mean tethered to God. I always walk chanting, everywhere I go, grocery store, and it's wheat check, rice check, oh, mani padme hum, muscle test, whether I get this kind of milk, that kind of milk. It's just peace. It's a place of peace. When you think you need to know what God wants you to do, what most resonates to peace? And if you want something from me, you want me you're hitchhiking on the road and you want to ride, I can give you a ride. I'm going to go to 10 miles down the road. I can drop you off. No, but I need to go 20. Don't do it. Don't not do it. Check in. Can you afford to take them 20? Don't automatically say no. Don't automatically say yes. If you say automatically yes, you're a victim. automatically say no, you're reactive. You're center. And I've done that. You know, I remember when I was a kid, probably 18 to 20, somewhere around 18, I was driving the freeway in Los Angeles, and in Orange County, actually, and saw some kid hitchhiking. I picked him. I said, kid, he was probably my age. But I picked him up and said, where are you going? LAX, and I'm late for a flight. I'm like, I was going 5 exits home. LAX is like way over there. I'm, you know, okay, good, I'll take you, you know. That's generally how I do things, not because I say yes or no all the time. I check in. What can you afford to do? When we learn how much we can afford, our lives change, because all the people around us also, their lives change because we know who we are, what we can afford. It's amazing. Human beings live just like starving critters in the desert. So in need of nourishment, so in need of something, someone to pick me up. It's going to be money, it's going to be drugs, it's going to be alcohol, it's going to be kudos, it's something to pick me up. Human beings are starving, but not because the world, not just because the world's an illusion and can't give them anything. It's because they've forgotten who they are. As we remember who we are and tether ourselves to God, the fuel tank fills up and we realize, I happen to have a little extra money for the person at the grocery store. I happen to have the physical strength to pick somebody up when they've fallen. I have the emotional strength to hear somebody's horror stories of childhood. I don't succumb to it because I'm holding my center. It's okay. Tell me anything. I'm here. I gotcha. You can afford more time. You can afford more. Human beings start going that direction. If they go too far, they'll break down. And then they'll say, I can't do anything for anybody. That's how the ego wants us. Completely disabled, mentally, financially, emotionally, so we don't help each other. You know why? Because if we help each other, we might be helping because of love and oneness. Why else would I help you if I don't feel loving and we're not one? If you're an unpredictable stranger who can flip on me at any moment, I'm going to have my guard up. That's how the ego wants everybody. Divided nations, divided continents, countries, philosophies, and so on. Look for commonality. In every place you can, look for commonality when it comes to, when they say you can't talk religion with people, look for commonality. You know, you could find a person of every religion and be able to say, I really admire how, in every religion, there's at least one person you could find that you could say, I really admire their devotion. I don't care what the devotion topic is. Baptist, Catholic, Buddhist, whatever. Can't you just tell when people are really lovingly devoted to something? That's the beauty of it, not the name of the thing or the doctrine or the dogma, the love, the beauty. And you and I should let them know that we see that in them. But it's also that faithful wife or husband. I really love your faithfulness that I see in your partnership, or your devotion to your child. See these things and let people know. Anything that brings us closer together in conversation or action. Just, come on. If I ran for office, I would not just look for every opportunity to rake the other person over the coals. I mean, then you just start making stuff up. I think they're a karmic demon from Mars. You just start making stuff up and people are like, oh, we knew it. The more you make them hate that politician or something, the more we're divided. And if I were a politician, I would say, I love that point. I never hear a politician say, even though that guy from 50 years ago was from that other party, I really think he was onto something. Why? Why can't they do? Oh, because got to keep it divided, so they vote for you. You know what? Listen, if I'm running, and you won't vote for me if I find agreeable points, then I don't want to be your leader. But what if you like my honesty? What if you like the fact that I can see good when it's there instead of pretending it's not there, and bring it in and integrate it to today? Why wouldn't you want to vote for somebody who integrates the best of all? It's beautiful. But human beings, while we still believe we're separate from God, we also think we're deserving of being separate. We don't deserve love and oneness. And somebody's got to change that belief system. And if not us, who? I'm quoting a politician. And if not now, then when? You see? Why not? It's got to happen somewhere, and it's got to happen when. At some point, there's a when to this. Where, when, how, me, and now. I step up. I want to see this world differently, God. How would you have me see this? And you go from level 1, the dualistic world, to the ascended world and to God. But you can't just go from here to God. That will never happen. And you can't just go from here into the ascended world without the old you dying. You don't just get to upgrade to fifth dimensional hatred. There's no such thing. Duality, dualistic thinking has to die. Okay, but how do we get them to do that? Start with yourself and plant seeds. And in closing, light workers are anybody that's trying to make that difference. Light workers are the people that are trying to make that difference. Manifesting new music that helps people calm instead of being frenetic. A person that, organic fiber clothing because you believe that feels better on people's body. Good. See, you let inspiration guide you as light workers. Whatever it is, a new oracle deck, new parenting skills, whatever it is, or just smiling and telling people they look great. That's light work. Working to manifest God's light. But there's a new faction of the light workers now, the daughters of heaven. And they're saying, you know what? I'm not only interested in being a light worker, helping people get home. I'm now a daughter of heaven who also anchors home right here and now. That's the difference. We're light workers, those of us who choose to be. Keep doing your light work. Keep doing it. You're a yoga instructor, whatever you do. Make a difference on the planet and help people find God and get home. Daughters of Heaven, like our conference coming up, splinters off and says, and we're dedicated to being the presence of God right here. Not just helping people go home, being home here. That's the main distinction between that newer group of people. And we hope you understand and really resonate with it. What is that? The daughters of heaven. They're ones that have always felt, even going through hell as a child, they always somehow felt there was still a God. And sometimes even more personalized. They felt close to Jesus or Mary or something of that nature. Something a little more spiritual, even if they were children brought up not even believing in God externally. Something in them knew. Like Helen, who wrote A Course in Miracles. She doesn't know why, but when she was a little girl, she would ask their maid. Their maid would clean up the house, but she'd go to church every day and do some prayer time. This little Jewish agnostic girl, one parent was atheist actually, and one was Jewish, her parents, she would say, can I go to the church with our maid? And they'd let her go. That woman who wrote A Course in Miracles knew. She felt something with Mother Mary. She never understood what it was because she lived the lifetime back at the time of Jesus and Mary and so on. So she remembered her love and devotion to Mary and such. So here she's still, accidentally going to church? It wasn't an accident. This was her soul that knew something. And it's like that. Light workers just know they feel compelled to do good. Daughters of heaven, to be that goodness. Not perfection or not external perfection, just an internal something. There's such a desire to be softer, a desire to be calmer, a desire to smile more, make a difference in people's lives by being that presence. You may not see Mary today. You may not see Jesus today, but you'll feel their presence because I'm here doing what I can. You see? Whatever work you do, you're being that presence. If you want to know more about the Daughters of Heaven, there's a website. You can go and read about it or listen and share. There's a book in our store or online you can get about it. And you can join our conference, which you can do, remember, in person. It's in 2 weeks. In person, or just watch it online. But I will say this, dedicate to something. When the world collapses, the ones you're going to be able to count on are the ones you felt the most affinity to. So have an affinity to something. Find something good in your life and get close to it. Snuggle up with it by the fire because cold times, bless you, can come. So find something you believe in and show some devotion to it. Internally, yes. Externally, absolutely. Please take a few centering breaths. Inhaling into your center and exhaling all the stuff of life and the world. Do that a few times. Exhale away, identifying with an illness. Exhale away, identifying with a race, a gender, a political affiliation, a financial status. Do this over and over and let different thoughts come to mind. What do you need to exhale away? Let the Holy Spirit help you decide. 50 years married, exhale it away. The ones you can't exhale away would be then called attachments, which is fine. Hang on to those, enjoy them for a little longer. But if they're coming to mind, you might want to consider it might be a message that it's time to exhale them away. It doesn't mean end the relation. It doesn't mean end your affiliations. You're exhaling away your concepts of it, your identification as it. The only I am is a holy child of God. Nothing else matters. They're just identifications on earth. You don't go to the fifth dimension, you don't go to heaven, you don't go to higher consciousness, you don't go to angelic realms while still identifying with dualistic or human things. So just live dangerously and exhale them away. And even though we've exhaled several away, which ones do you still need to be compassionate for? The mom who doesn't have her children or didn't have a child? The one with a certain illness? Don't shame yourself for it. You're not choosing to identify as it, limited by it, but this is temporarily what's happening. And I'm sorry. And you say to yourself, it's okay, honey. I'm sorry that that's what we're experiencing, but it's okay. It doesn't change the truth of who we are. No resistance, no fighting. What if I am the pure presence of God? No identifications and only compassion for some of those remaining pieces. What if I'm a holy child of God? I'm going to choose to fill up enough with that truth that I love the hell out of all else in me. I love it away. You have no place here. Limiting beliefs? What do you mean? You have no place here. I just feel the presence of God's grace and God's love. I feel fantastic. I feel ready. I feel awake. I'm waking to the truth of who I am. For the next moment, imagine that you feel so filled with peace and presence. If you saw someone sick, you would have no trouble embracing them and just completely downloading instantaneous healing because you're so filled. You feel so full financially. You can pay somebody's bill in the grocery line. You feel so full, you can't not smile if you were out on the streets right now walking by people. How could I not? Hi there, how are you? Telling a waiter, waitress, oh my God, you did an amazing job. Thanks for taking care of us. Pilots on a plane. Hey, you know what? Nice job, thank you, Kindness. Don't sit with a dull mind casually thinking about this. Imagine what it would be like to feel that full. And then take the hand of someone sitting next to you on one or both sides. Try not to refuse a hand that reaches out. If someone's sitting alone in front of you, put your hand on their shoulder. Good. If it triggers you to connect, give that to God. Father, Mother, God, we refuse to be alone. We refuse to be separate, and we refuse to allow other brothers and sisters to be separate. This is not your will, therefore, it is no longer the way we will be. When I am in the world, Jesus said, I am the light of the world. So while I am here, I will shine my light. And just imagine the person you're making contact with, and the folks online, we're absolutely with you, okay? Believe that. The person who you're contacting, understand what they've been through in life. Understand horrible things sometimes in childhood. Violence, racism, judgment. Just imagine the things, every one of those hands and shoulders you're contacting, that person has had their own version of hell. Somebody left them, somebody died and broke their heart, whatever. They've been through something. This isn't just a hand. This is a child of God who's experienced things that were not becoming to a child of God. And just convey to them, I'm very sorry. I hear it, I get it, I'm sorry. And also say to them, but everything's going to be different now. Starting now. If no other time in your life, starting now, love is here. If you've had love, great, here's more. And imagine that you're filling them up with love so that their tank is full and they can afford to go out and share more and more with others. By joining this together, two or more gathered with the same intention, love, light, peace, joy, everything can change. Father, Mother, God, we're done learning the hard way. But when the hard way shows up, we choose not to fear it nor hate it. We accept it as our silliness, our silly way of doing things the hard way. Help us to forgive ourselves when we make such choices. Brothers and sisters all over the world, we're in this together. We look separate today, but soon we'll recognize our oneness, and we will live together in harmony and peace. This is inevitable. This is our destiny. A gentle little squeeze of appreciation to the hands or shoulders of the person you're contacting. And so it is. Thank you. Just gently reintegrate back into the room, into your body. I appreciate you being there for each other the way you were. In a moment, we'll do our closing prayer. How did the meditation feel? Any thoughts coming to you? Any epiphanies? Any pieces worth sharing? Yes?
I felt when you asked us to fill up, I felt like a gigantic drop that was, it was sapphire, and it went way above the building. That
Wow.
whole room filled up with this gigantic drop of sapphire blue.
Wow.
Just like a full tank. It was,
This beautiful sapphire presence.
yeah,
Nice.
it was amazing.
Nice. You could see it there. Nice. Anyone else? Okay. Appreciate everybody always just being here and being so open, so vulnerable, so connected that the light of God can just shine through so effortlessly, basically. How are you? Good. Feel good? Good. You have a really strong light in you right now. Good. Euphoric? Nice. Good. Thanks. We're going to take up our collection. We ask simply that you be as generous as you can be. The bags are for your donations. The baskets are for the baskets are for any extra donations you can share. That could be for people of lesser means that we help out or for projects. And we appreciate those of you because we're doing the roof that's fairly expensive, and we appreciate that some of you have pitched in so generously to help pull that together. So God bless you. Hold your love offering to your heart. There's a prayer that we use. It's on your bulletins in front of you, or it's posted online. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. All right. Can anyone share what they learned or heard today that made the most sense or serves the greatest purpose for you?
Tethered to God.
Tether to God. Remember, that's what that word yoga means. Yoke. Yoke. Tether yourself to God. Yoga was originally about communing with God and then starting to follow spontaneous movement, which also became dance, Tai Chi, and many other things. It's about connecting and then feeling, where do I need to open up a little more for the fullest experience of God flowing through my body? That's how it started. Then it became, some Jane Fonda workout, fashionable, matching leg warmers, and, I'm doing the I'm all that matters pose, I don't know where that came from, sorry. But it's true, so it became a thing, but like everything else on this planet, it's about you yoking yourself to God. When you do yoga, you're asking to bring God's presence into even more parts of yourself, and you open. And 1 minute it looks like ceremony, ritual, dance, yoga, Tai Chi, and it is perfect because you're allowing God to move through you and dance through you. Keep that in mind when you're doing such practices, and just forget somebody else telling you you're doing it right. Just say, hey, I'm good. This is God and me. I think we're all right. All right, so thank you for being with us. Please stand for our closing prayer. Draw in the love, draw in the support. No matter how alone or where you've been, not today. Draw in the full presence of God and the love of God's children. Draw that in and really believe in it. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. We'll see you soon. You're welcome.